Hello guys, this is Folly Models. This is part 4 of the Eastern Express English Electric Canberra B1 Mark 8. So where we left it the other day in the last video was I'd done the filling over the black base coat, which I'd sprayed on a black base coat, and then I filled and sanded. It still needed more of that doing. You never seem to notice it until you've sprayed another coat over. Anyway, over the black base coat, I've sprayed this grey, another coat of grey surface primer, although the colour didn't come out anything like the can cap. And also this particular brand, Rust-Oleum, left loads of flecks, lots of flecks of paint and little bumps and loads of imperfections in the paint, which I've had to use a very fine piece of wet and dry to sand off. So that was more work. I actually preferred the Wilko primer spray, which was actually cheaper. Anyway, now I'm not going to use that for another coat. I've mixed up a pot of grey with some clear thinner. So that's acrylic in there. I'm going to use a size 12 flat brush in thin coats to cover the rest. So this may take a while because they're very thin coats, almost translucent, but I've got to keep it moving, keep the paint moving away from you. I'll do this until the whole aircraft's covered, being careful not to leave too many welts of paint along the edge there. You just keep feathering away with a brush and get those off. So basically do the same along there. If you work fast, if you use the right thinner to thin these paints, you'll get barely any brush marks. And bear in mind, you've got other layers of paint to go over as well, such as, camouflage, the camouflage colours eventually. So this is the stage we're at now. So the spraying didn't come up to my expectations at all this time. Worked better on my last model, but I think what I would have done now in hindsight, I would have sprayed the black base coat on, and then I would have used this method of hand painting on some acrylic for the grey. I would have left the grey primer out completely and just painted on more coats by hand. I mean, obviously if you use an airbrush, you would use an airbrush, but I'm not using an airbrush. So just gently brush it on. The brush is barely touching the surface, literally painting it but lifting it off the surface at the same time. If you get too much paint on, just take it off. Have a piece of tissue or something there so you can take it off. And it dries quite quickly, this. So just basically do that. It's going to take through a good 3 or 4 coats of this thin acrylic to cover the jet, to cover the model. Obviously needs a lot of touching up in these areas as well. It's going to need some tender loving care, some TLC all over this model, and then we'll start to make some progress. So this is the enjoyable part. Once you get into the rhythm of this, once you get into the mood of the painting itself, it's very enjoyable. This is what model making is all about to me. So thanks for listening, guys, and keep you posted on the progress on the next update. Happy modelling. Hope it's all going well for you out there.